All right. Yay, it's working. Hey guys, thanks so much for being here. I feel really too official with like the microphone and everything. Don't worry, I'm really good at yelling, as most of you already know if you've worked before. However, we are videoing tonight. For there are a lot of people that couldn't make it, so we're trying it out this year with like doing a video training, sending it to people. I don't know. We're gonna see how it works. So hi, people at home. And so just so you're aware, the camera back here is rolling. So feel free to get up and grab refreshments and everything, but just don't linger in front of it because that may create some issues for us later.
Also, no curse words and stuff like that. We got to keep it PG. So I know you all are like profane normally, but
Yeah. Don't shout profanities at us. That would also be appreciated.
that's right.
Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for volunteering. We truly could not put this festival on every year without you. And I really, really appreciate it. I have so many people this year that are working more than one shift. And some of you have already come up to me and said, hey, the festival hasn't even started yet. And you're like, I'd like to work more shifts. Where can I help you? So I really, really appreciate it. Working with you guys is my favorite thing to do every year. My name is Emily, by the way, if you've never met me before. I'm the person that emails you. I will be your main point of contact at the festival. And if you're going crazy or if you need anything, you can always come and find me, and I'll be there to help you out. And the person who just ducked out of the room,
I'm
his name is
disembodied.
Chris. Yeah, the voice in our heads right now. That's Chris, and he is the filmmaker liaison for the Film Prize and for Prize Fest. And I'll let you tell him a little bit. I'll let him tell you a little bit more about what he does. But he is the technical person for the
Usually, I'm doing
festival.
exactly what I'm doing right now during the festival.
He's always running around fixing projectors, microphones, and things like that. So if anything ever goes wrong, that I personally can't fix, which is anything with a wire connected to it, you can holler for Chris. All right, perfect.
That's it.
All right, so welcome to the Prize family. We really do consider ourselves, woohoo, yeah, viva! We do consider ourselves a family. We have a very small office of staff members, and we're all really close. And as soon as you work for the Prize Festival, you become part of our family as well. And if you have ever worked with us before, I know you know this because I know a lot of you. I know your family, some of you. I know your friends and your kids and things like that. So I really appreciate y'all being back. And if this is your first time, welcome. Welcome. Double welcome. Again, it has wires attached to it, so I'm not great at it. So, a little
It's
bit of a
wireless.
festival overview. Um, we have a lot of new programming and events this year. It's wild. I can hardly keep it straight. I'm going to do my best to tell you what everything is. But as you probably already know, we are now expanded to the Film, Music, and Food Prize. We have Startup Prize and Film Prize Junior as well, not connected to this event, so don't worry about those for this weekend. So on Wednesday, we're kicking it off with our main Food Prize event that's called Come and Get It. And it is an upscale food and dining and drink experience. Really nice. Takes place at the Remington. It's where our celebrity chef judges cook for the people there at that event, serve, and they also collaborate with the chefs competing in the food prize as well. Also on Wednesday, we have Music Prize University featuring Kenny Wayne Shepherd. That is where any musician in town, it's free to the public, so if you'd like to go to that, or if you know musician friends that want to go, it's where Grammy associates and hard hitters in the music industry will be there discussing how they got into the business and how you can improve your game as well. And Chris is telling me I'm off screen. Okay. On Thursday, we have food, film, and music. So for the food prize, we have a lunch demonstration. One of our celebrity chefs is cooking a big pasta dish and is going to let everybody there taste it. We also have some cocktail and wine pairings going on with that. The food events obviously are really fun, and if I wasn't working, I'd be stuffing my face with them all the time. And at the film screenings are starting on Thursday this year. That's new. We usually only do them all day Friday and all day Saturday, but we're starting them on Thursday evening because we have so many people attending the festival now that we had to add another day and another venue to fit everybody in. Woohoo! Yay! Also, as always on Thursday, we have the Music Prize Locals Showcase. This year it's only locals, doing a little battle of the band style. The winner gets a big trophy, gets to say you're the best, and they also get a slot in the Friday night concert with the national bands. So pretty cool.
All right, so we have even more events on Friday and Saturday. I too will do my best to keep it simple but inform you. So first things first, the film prize screenings will start at the 9 o'clock hour on Friday. We actually have the same schedule for Friday and Saturday in terms of the start times, the slates change and that sort of thing, but you'll get the hang of it. Those go all the way. The last screenings, first screening starts at 9 a.m. Last screening starts at 9 p.m. Food prize battle for the Golden Fork. This is something we started 2 years ago. It's even bigger and better this year. We have 5 local chefs. 4 of them were picked through the Society of the Golden Fork Dinner Club, and the 5th one was selected by a Times popularity poll on their website. That'll be happening at 7 p.m. in the middle of Texas Street. Then immediately following that, we'll have Music Prize Indie Collision, which is, as Emily said, featuring the winner from Thursday night, the Bristol Hills, who won last year for the Music Prize, plus Larkin Poe, a fantastic band out of Atlanta. So, and then Food Prize Taco Pop-Up. This is a fun kind of pay-as-you-go situation where we'll have our celebrity chefs who've come in from all over the country. They'll be taking over Parish Taco downtown, right next to everything that we're doing, and they're making one-of-a-kind tacos for that night only. People can come in and kind of buy tacos as they like. It's free to the public, but you have to pay to eat the tacos, sadly. Saturday, we have a lot of things starting in the morning that day. I'll just jump in and say, as we normally do, we'll have the Film Prize University judge panels. The film screenings will start yet again at 9 a.m. And then also at 9 a.m., we have the Food Prize Biscuit Breakfast with Regina Charbonneau, the Biscuit Queen herself. It's going to be a really great event. That's a ticketed event, and it's actually sold out. So hopefully, if you wanted to do that, you got it. Music Prize Main Stage Extravaganza will be happening that evening. Just prior to that, we'll be having all the filmmaker interviews will be happening on one day this year. That's a Saturday from noon until 5 p.m. So we're going to squeeze all 20 of them in that 5-hour period. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so real quick before we go on, do y'all have any questions, not like super detailed or anything, but about how it runs? We have a lot of questions from guests this year that are like, I got, this combo pass and I don't really know like what I'm supposed to do with it. So basically the rundown is all of these things happen simultaneously. They're all in downtown Shreveport. If you have a pass, depending on what type of pass you have, you get to go to all of these events. So
we'll get to the passes in a second.
Yeah, and we're trying to educate people on how the festival kind of rolls. So we just wanted you to keep all of this in mind, even though we know each of you isn't working all of these events. However, with your combo pass, you get to attend a lot of them, which is exciting.
I will point out, before we get to this next slide, that 2 things. One, the website is a fantastic resource. If you have the time to look at it, all this stuff in chronological order is there. You can look at all the films, you can see all the chefs, you can see the music, and then there's a page on there that's right at the top that says schedule, and you can run down and see the entire weekend. So if you're having a question about when something happens, it might be good to study up on that so that you're not coming up on the day and having to flip through the program book so much.
I think
this is me. Okay, how to film prize. This is pretty much the same as it's been since year 1. It's a pretty simple process here. People have purchased tickets online or in person, and what they've received when they purchase a ticket is an email, and that email has a printout. That printout has a barcode, and I'll show you guys an example of that in a second. They have to bring that piece of paper, that printout, or on their phone. We scan it in, and then we trade them for a pass that's like the one that you received when you get in, but it's the one that they bought. Then they have to see the films, and if they're doing the film prize, right? As they exit the theater, once they've seen a slate of films, they're broken up into 2 slates, orange and teal, again, as you see on the badge there. They'll get it punched. They'll see the second slate of films. They get it punched again. Then and only then are they eligible to vote. At that point, they can go to the voting station and choose we'll show you a sample ballot in a moment, fill it out, drop it in, and they can go about their business. Hopefully that business includes attending music events or coming to the food prize and that sort of stuff.
All right. So some of the volunteer responsibilities that are just a broad overview of what we're all going to be doing, and I'm going to break it down by your actual assignments in a little bit. But we are here to welcome guests to our area. We anticipate over 3,000 guests from all across the country to come to the Film Prize this year. It's a huge event if you've never been before, and we are the ambassadors for Shreveport Bossier. So we want to paint everything in a really great light. We want to welcome them to downtown and show them all the cool things that we have going on. So just be aware that you're representing your city while you're out here, because we have journalists from like IndieWire and Movie Maker Magazine and the celebrity judges and the filmmakers from all over the country, and we want them to write about us in articles about what a cool place this is, what a cool festival it is, and we want people to keep coming back. So always keep that in the back of your mind.
And it's not just movie stuff too. There are actually 2 tours that are coming through. They're hitting the Revel as well, and they're food reviewers, music reviewers. They're coming through. So every prize is getting a taste of media here, and we want to make sure that we're exuding that personality that Shreveport has and putting our best foot forward.
Yes. And one of my main points that I always try to hit on is to be proactive. That's going with our second bullet point up here. So try to answer questions before they even arise. Always offer solutions for people. So if you see someone standing in line that doesn't have a pass, it might be a good thing to tell them, hey, you don't have a pass, you might want to go pick yours up. So we always want to try to solve situations before they even arise. So if you could familiarize yourself with the schedule, we'll have program books there as well. We just want to help people out and be really friendly and really positive. This year, another thing that we're stressing really hardcore is crowd management. If you've ever worked on Saturday afternoon, you know it is a mad house, because everybody realizes, oh my gosh, I only have 6 hours left to see 4 hours of movies because I've been partying too hard all weekend and I've got to get this done. So it's a mad dash to see the films. So we want to make sure that the lines are being managed properly, that we're counting, that we're filling up venues as quickly as we can so that we get everybody in and out so that they're able to see those films. So we're going to be going over a lot of that, but crowd management this year and line management is key. Also, the last thing is be the prize. Keep your energy up. We have lots of coffee provided by Rhino for our volunteers. We have Gatorade. We have 5-hour energy. We have all the things you need to just party all weekend long. And if you think this is high strung, you should see me next week. But yeah, just have fun. We like to have fun. It's a festival, and we want you to have fun while you're working it. We want you to have fun while you're out there using your volunteer passes. So if you want to throw stickers into the crowd, if you want to do the wave with people in line, whatever you'd like to do, we just like to keep everybody happy and having a really good time. All right, so ticketing booth, where I'll be all weekend long pretty much. So I don't leave here for about 48 hours most of the time. So if you are a ticketing volunteer, this is your part, so listen closely. Also, we're going to be going over badge types. That applies to everybody. And if you have a special event, like you're working the biscuit breakfast or food prize or a music prize event, anything like that, also, you're going to need the ticketing information for that as well, because we'll be selling and checking people in at a lot of different places, not just at the ticketing booth this year. So we use Eventbrite Organizer, which is an app that helps us sell tickets, check people in. It's really fantastic. If you've been with us since the days of having paper and highlighting people as they come to the festival, we've come a very long way. So we have it loaded onto our iPods. We'll have iPods and iPads there at the ticketing booth to help you check people in. I have some screenshots that I'll show you in a minute, but it's really easy to use. We just need to make sure that everybody has a barcode to scan. So they can have it on their phone, they can print it out, whatever they need to do. They can show you an email, but we need to have a barcode to scan. So we can look people up, as it says down here. It takes a long time. So to keep everything flowing really smoothly, we sometimes shout to the people in line, like, please have your tickets ready. Have it pulled up on your phone, because if we have to look up everybody, if we have to wait for everybody to say, hang on, I've got that in an email somewhere, it will take us forever to check everybody in. So we want to make sure we're trying to press people to get those barcodes out so that we can check them in really quickly. And then also at ticketing, we sell new passes to walk-ups, which I'll go over right now. So this is what a ticket looks like. If they received it in an email, it's got a lot of information on it, a lot of jargon and things like that. Most of this is not what you're looking for as a volunteer. We are concerned only with this part right here in the red box and the QR code over here. So in the red box, it'll tell you what type of pass they have. So you can see that this is a combo film and music pass, and then you'll just scan the little square barcode or the QR code to check them in. Here's where it gets tricky. We have a lot of pass types. We're about to go over that in a minute. However, this year we also sold a lot of tickets at special events, like we did Highland Jazz and Blues Fest or the Bossier Night Market and things like that. So a lot of the passes will have a very long name, like Highland Jazz and Blues Fest BOGO Combo Pass Film and Music. So yes, that's the same face I made. So we want to make sure that we are reading, and what we're looking for is the core pass type, which is film, music, combo, VIP. We'll go over those. So whatever it says, if it says Whole Foods, don't worry, they probably didn't accidentally come to the wrong festival and are supposed to be at Whole Foods right now. They just bought that pass at Whole Foods. So we are looking for the core pass type. And the reason why we always want to find that is so that we can give them the correct ticket type. So it'll either say it on their ticket or it will show up on the Eventbrite app when you scan in that barcode. If they have a mobile ticket, it'll tell you what kind it is. So this is what the Eventbrite app looks like. Here's a screenshot of the check-in screen. So if you were to click down here on that little button, it would bring up this screen. And so it has a little scanner, kind of like if you're going to Walmart or any store. You'll just scan it over the barcode, and it'll check them in. It'll flash green if it's checked in, or you can see that this person, it took me a really long time to get this shot, so they've already been checked in multiple times, but it'll flash red if they've already been checked in. Obviously, if it flashes red, they've already checked in or tried to use that ticket before. However, it's very sensitive, so if somebody lays out a whole table worth of passes in front of you, it can pick up like several at a time as well, so that may happen as well. But just be aware of that. Also, we can check people in by looking them up. Again, not ideal, takes a lot of time, but you just type them in the search bar up front. You can search by email, first name, last name, whatever. We have it all, and then it just works like Tinder after that. You swipe left to check them in, you swipe right to check them out, and then if they're already checked in, it'll have a little green bar by their name. So say somebody comes up and says, "Hey, I'd like to pick up 4 passes for Emily Smith." You go and you see that Emily Smith already has 4 little green marks by her name. You can always see if they had more passes, like if somebody bought 10 and they're just having family members come up and pick them up one at a time. Or you can say, "I'm sorry, those have already been picked up." Contact someone in your party who came and got them and see if they're floating around here with your passes. And then here is a screenshot of selling new passes. So all of these, they won't be there the day of the festival. We'll just have the plain ones out there, the ones that are left on the day of the festival. But it's really easy. You just tap the plus mark for as many as you want to sell, and then it'll have a little thing that pops up at the bottom that says sell, and you hit that. It'll prompt you to put in their credit card information. You'll swipe it. It'll come up with this. You get credit or cash, whatever. It's really, really simple to use. It's very self-explanatory. So again, we're checking people in, and we're selling new passes at the ticketing booth. We also do voting at the ticketing booth, which we'll get to in a moment.
All right. As Emily said, there are a lot of pass types this year. It's the most we've ever had, but we've also got the most number of events that we've ever had. Food Prize in years past has been a free event, and we've only kind of had the street festival version. This year we have a whole bunch of different events and things like that. I'll start off with a note that the Food Prize events, like the biscuit brunch or like the demonstration lunch, those people will show up to the event with their printout as opposed to a pass. There's not a pass for those. But let's hit the first slide. So the basic passes are film, music, and combination. This will make up 95% of the passes that you give out throughout the weekend. And obviously, if you're a venue person, the film pass will get you into the films. The music pass will get you into the music, but not the films, vice versa. And then the combo pass gets you into both. So as you're a gatekeeper, you want to make sure that the passes, like if you're at the Robinson Film Center and people are in line and somebody just has one of these, they can't go in. They have to have one of the film pass or the combo pass or a VIP pass or a filmmaker pass or a volunteer. We'll get there. Lots of passes. So the primary thing here is that if for the film, which again, most of the attendees, over 70% of the attendees are here for film, this is what you want to look for. This is only present on passes that are allowed to do films because they have the teal and orange slate and the voting star in the middle. Next slide. Okay, these are 2 VIP pass types. They're identical. They just look different. We do this. They're identical in ability to enter the VIP room.
Right.
So we do this for the filmmakers, one, because we believe filmmakers are king and we want them to be respected as the artists that they are. And this gives people an opportunity in line and around the festival to identify them in their film. So we do that for them. And then the VIP pass will be this white with the Prize Fest Starburst. And it also has special punch tabs. And these are important because this is how we control, this stoplight is how we control the people entering the VIP room in a given day. So, for example, I'm going to set this America beer down. Okay, so I roll up on Friday, and I want to go to the VIP room. I have my VIP badge already. I attended Thursday night's festivities. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk up to the VIP room, and the VIP attendant is going to say, "Oh, hello, welcome them. Let me give you your wristband." They're going to take the special punches, which if you're familiar with the film punches, they'll take that. They're going to punch that date, for, T for Thursday, F for Friday, S for Saturday, and give them the corresponding wristband. And that way, if somebody shows up and it has a punch pass and they don't have a wristband, it means somebody took it off and gave it to a friend. Of course, we won't want to do that because we want to preserve that experience for the people who are sponsors or paid for it. It's very important that we keep that management, again, that crowd control.
Yeah, and just so everybody's aware, we do take the VIP passes very seriously and the filmmaker passes as well with the wristbanding. And if you don't know, the VIP passes, they run about $500. So we want to preserve that experience. It's all food and drink included for the weekend. You get to skip lines. There's all sorts of things included with that. However, most of the people that have them didn't just buy a $500 pass and come to the festival. Most of them are the friends and families of our sponsors. So it may have come down to them giving $10,000 or $20,000. So that's why we always want to treat the VIPs, not better, but we always want to respect the VIPs. It can go to their head a little bit sometimes, but we always want to be kind to everybody, especially the VIPs and the filmmakers as well, because they come in from all over the country, and we want to treat them like special artists so that they'll tell all their friends to come to the festival as well.
Cool. Next slide. Okay, these are two specialty passes that are actually pretty rare. This pass is only for people that are going to come and get it, which is on Wednesday. And so unless you're working the Wednesday event, you probably won't see this pass. Okay. This pass, however, the gold pass includes all film, music, and food. It's very rare. We've only sold about 10 of them. So the odds of you actually seeing one are pretty remote. But again, looking at the bottom here, they can get into the film, they get into the music and the food events, and they even have this little special taco punch because they get two free taco, not free, they paid for them, but they get 2 taco tickets at the taco pop-up on Friday.
We should actually start a prize of who can find the most gold passes, because I'm not sure I'll ever see one.
It's like a golden ticket. It's like a Wonka golden ticket. It's very rare. So most you won't see this unless you're working Wednesday, and then this is a very rare one. Rare Pokemon. Okay, so these are this one you're familiar with. This is the one you got when you're walking in the door. This is a volunteer pass. It's a combo pass for anybody that's wondering. You get into the music and the film. You can wear it in line and get your pass punched. It's a kind of a badge of honor. You've spent a lot of time helping us out, and that's something that I think that people really enjoy seeing. Hopefully they come up and you can start a conga line or give away free hugs if you want. And then this one is a staff badge. A lot of them will have names on them. These are actually pretty rare too. There's only about 10 people that will have them. And these are kind of like, if you see me, don't stop me, because I'm probably going off to defuse a bomb. Like a figurative one. I don't want to be insensitive. But those are pretty rare, but those are all access, don't stop, because they're probably on a mission. That's it. Oh, next one. Right, so the last thing is a modifier. These are press stickers. They will go on a badge. They will be given the stickers by our staff. And all this means is that they have kind of special access privileges. So say somebody has a music pass and they have a press sticker. That means they can go kind of up on the stage and take pictures. If they have a VIP pass, then they can go into the VIP room and take pictures. But what's most important about this is that they are only allowed in the spaces that their badge represents. So if a music pass person with a press pass comes up to the VIP room, that's not going to work. They can't come in. If they have a film pass, like an only film pass, and they try to go into the music place, that's a no-go. Just gets them kind of in and out privileges. Like say you're at a screening at the Capri, and somebody comes in, it's like halfway through a slate. Well, they can come in because they're taking pictures and they're going to come back out. So it's just kind of like a little special access privilege sticker.
Yeah, so a lot of pass types this year, but structure's mostly the same. Okay, so merchandise. We're not selling it this year. Woo! So we will have merchandise. However, Sweet Tea Shreveport is managing that for us this year. So if you've worked ticketing in the past, you usually had to do merchandise as well. We're not having to worry about that this year, but you'll see them out at Festival Central. They'll have a tent. We'll point that out to you. So if somebody says, "Hey, where can I get a cool shirt?" You'll say, "Over there." Not with me. So, so we don't have to worry about square and everything this year, which is kind of exciting for us. But the T-shirts, they came in today, look amazing, and we have hats and sweatbands and some other things too, which are really cool. Okay, so ushers and punchers. If you are assigned to a venue, this mostly pertains to you. It also pertains, not
VIP.
so much for the punching. Yeah, but if you end up working VIP or if you're at a music prize event, you'll have to watch out for the same things that we're watching out for here. So you can see we're punching. You will come to have a love-hate relationship with these little hole punchers right here because they get dull after a while and they make fun shapes, and then you're going to want to throw them across the room by the end of the weekend. But it's going to be really fun. So the main responsibilities for a puncher, you have responsibilities before, during, and after the films have shown. So before the films have shown, people are in line, and the main responsibility is to count the line. And I cannot stress this enough, is to count the line. So people will start getting in line sometimes hours ahead of a screening because places like Robinson and Capri and now ArtStation will sell out, and people are hell-bent on seeing it in their favorite theater. People have their favorite places. They don't want to compromise. They want to be in there, and they will line up early. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that, A, people are lined up for the correct thing, because that's really a bummer when you get to the front of the line and you realize you're not in the right place. But B, we also want to make sure that we're not overbooking our venues. So put yourself in their shoes for a moment and just imagine if you've been waiting in line for 2 hours to get into ArtStation, and then you get to the front of the line and they say, "I'm sorry, the person in front of you is the last one in. And now you have to scramble to find another place to find the movie." You wouldn't be too happy, and neither are our guests. But thankfully for us, that is 100% preventable with counting the line. So we will have little tally counters in the boxes at every venue. And so what's very important is to, as soon as you have a line, and continuously throughout the day, we want to go through and we want to count everybody in line. You'll also have information about how many seats your theater has. So we want to go through and we want to count. And when you get to the last person, we want to say the line is going to stop here. If you are past this, you need to seek another theater now because you're not getting into this one. Okay, so hopefully I impressed the seriousness upon you of how
I'm
much
going
that
to jump
was.
in there and say, as Emily said, you should be counting throughout the process. So ideally, I mean, and look, especially on Saturday afternoon, you'll turn around and 3 seconds later, there'll be 20 more people in line.
They multiply.
And so, really, it's important for every venue has at least a venue captain and one volunteer. Some of the bigger venues have multiple volunteers underneath the venue captain. But it's important that once you get to a point where you are maxed out, that you maintain the end of that line, whether that's you physically standing at the end of the line and telling people that they need to seek another venue and helping them do that by having the program book on you, or having regular communication visually with the end of that line and making sure that you're going back and checking. You don't want to neglect the rest of the line, but at the same time, you want to make sure that no new people are adding themselves. Because the person at the end of the line is not going to play caboose for you.
Yeah, and they're going to let their friends in. I'm going to run through these real quick, and then I'll call on you, Karen, because I might go through it. So just to make sure I don't forget anything, we're counting the number of people in line. We already went over that. Make sure everyone in line has a film eligible pass. So that's another one of those things. If you see somebody in line with a music pass, they might think that they're getting in, and you don't want them to wait 2 hours and let them stew over that before you have to tell them no. So be proactive and go out there and say, hey, you don't have a pass around your neck. Do you have one? Do you need to go grab one and come get back in line because I don't want you to wait here? Because a lot of people think that their email will get them in, but they need to go to ticketing and pick up the actual lanyard and badge before they can go anywhere and get it punched. If the screening is sold out, monitor for people who already have the punch passed, the pass punched. So
Say that 5 times
if
fast.
you're not familiar with the film prize or you've never been before, we have an orange slate and a teal slate. Each one has 10 films in it, and it's about the length of a regular movie. So everybody has to see the orange and the teal to be able to vote. And you'll see that on the bottom of your passes as well, that it has a space for both of those. So the venues will alternate. They'll go orange, teal, orange, teal, orange, teal. So you want to make sure that people are going to see the right thing and that they don't accidentally see the teal twice, because then they can't vote. But another thing is, if you're running low on space, especially on Saturday, and you go through your line and they're in line for the orange slate and they already had the orange pass, you already have the orange punched, mixing up my words, then you might want to say, hey, this is the orange slate, you've already seen it, or just so that they know that. And then also, you're going to have to wait out here until we see if we have any extra seats, because we can't let everybody see the slates 5 times, because then we won't have room for everybody. So we want to make sure that everybody gets to see each slate once.
And to add on to that, if you do have spaces at the end, you can let whoever in. But we want to prioritize the people that haven't seen it, especially on that Saturday afternoon, because nothing's worse than letting 10 people in that have already seen the slate, and there are 10 people outside who haven't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then VIPs, as I mentioned earlier, they have line hopping privileges. So they can go to the front of the line up to 10 minutes before the screening. So say that you're working a venue and you have 100 seats in your venue, you would count your line to 90 so that you don't go over. So we want to save about 10 spaces for VIPs, because they're allowed to just come up and run into the theater up to 10 minutes prior. However, 10 minutes before it starts, that's not allowed anymore. So if you have space, you can let the VIPs in, of course, but if you don't have space, and they know this, so you can tell them, I'm very sorry, but line hopping privileges stop 10 minutes prior to screening. And then last thing is always be polite, offer other theaters, make sure you're offering up the same color slate that they're trying to see. The Art Station and Scottish Rite this year are kind of buddy theaters. They run Scottish Rite runs 30 minutes behind Art Station, running the same slate. So if they're here and it's booked, you can say, go next door. And then Robinson and Capri are buddy theaters. Capri starts 30 minutes later. So if they're at Robinson, it's sold out, run to Capri.
That's right. And I want to point something else out about the VIP stuff. And again, this stuff will be in the sheet that you get. There's kind of a cheat sheet that is delivered to each venue that you can review if you don't remember this. Or this year we're recording it. You can go back and watch it again. When you're counting VIPs, if you have a line of, let's just use that 100 theater example, 100 seat theater again as an example. If you have 70 people in line and 10 VIPs, you still need to hold an additional 10 VIP slots. Does that make sense? We want to hold 10 empty seats up until the 10-minute mark. So it doesn't matter how many if there are 40 VIPs in line, and of course you're counting them as people that are in line, right? You want to hold 10 extra seats beyond that until the 10-minute mark, and then you can let people in.
Yeah.
And that's part of that that line management is saying, you're at the end of the line here, there may be some seats available if you want. Like if somebody says, I have to see this screening, I can't go to any other ones, I'm going out of town tomorrow, I've got a wedding or whatever it is, you can always offer up to them, you can totally hang around here. I'm not guaranteeing that you're going to get in, but you can stay here. And if there are people that don't show up, then you can let them in as that part of that 10 that you would fill up if no VIP show up at that point.
Yeah. Karen, did you have a question? Good. Woohoo!
What was it? Okay, cool. All right.
Always thinking.
Very good.
Okay, so during and after the films, while you are you're ushering people in. Meanwhile, people are in the theater seeing the previous screening before. So we want to make sure that no one is leaving the theater, because if they do, they cannot get their pass punched. So the rules here, and they're not set by us, they're set by the accounting firms that handle our voting system, is they have to see all 20 films in order to vote. Now they're short films, so they can be as short as 5 minutes. So if somebody gets up to go to the bathroom, you could have missed a whole film, half a film, anything like that. So in order to guarantee that everybody saw all 20 films, they're not allowed to leave. So again, with being proactive, we want to tell everybody in line, and as they're entering the theater, get your drink now, go to the bathroom now. There's a 10-minute intermission. You have to hold it until then because you're not going to be able to leave. So again, just making sure that you don't give anybody an excuse to say, oh, well, I didn't know. We don't want anybody saying that because we want to be so adamant about counting the line and telling people what's expected of them. So they can only leave during intermission, and they have to be back in their seats by the time it starts. So if they don't make it back, you say, I'm sorry, but you're not allowed back in. If somebody, and we don't advertise this, but if you have somebody that is complaining a lot, or they have children inside the theater, all their friends in the theater, and they don't want to just leave them there, what you can do is say, I can't punch your pass. I would be happy to hold it for you until the end of the screening, but you're going to have to come find me to get it back, because I guarantee you're not going to remember anybody's face or what they're wearing if they say, like, I'm not going to punch that person's thing. Well, you may not see them. Somebody else may be talking to you. So what you can do is you can take their pass and you can hold on to it for them and explain that they can come get it back. You're not trying to steal it from them. But that's just so you know that it can't get punched.
And that's a measure of last resort. And hopefully, if we've done our job, and the venue captains will get a thing after this. But the when I was in Memphis doing the Memphis Film Prize a few months ago, I was the venue captain for the entire festival, and I made so many pee jokes in line and in the theater, and was like, you have to go, babbling brook, rushing stream, like trying to get people to realize that they, like, if they walked down that hallway and out the door, that they weren't going to be able to come back in to get their pass punched. So it's incredibly important that we stress upon people, we put pressure on them to go use the bathroom.
Chris is really great at dad jokes, by the way, if you need any in your arsenal. So also watch out for Capri, because there's a bar in the theater, and I don't care how many shots they had, they can't go to the bathroom and come back in. But just so they know that. Okay, we already went over this. If they attempt to get in, you have to hold their pass, or just tell them they can't enter. Use that as a method of last resort. And then be efficient with punching passes as they exit. So we want to make sure that we're getting those people out quickly, because the theaters need to be cleaned, and then we need to get the next group in as efficiently as possible. So just make sure that we're punching as fast as we can while still being accurate. Make sure that you're punching the correct slate, because you don't want them to watch the orange and then punch the teal. Huge mess. So just make sure that we're being efficient with that. Also, if you are in a theater that's not a real theater, so basically if you're anywhere but Robinson, we don't have a cleaning staff necessarily. So something you may want to add to your spiel at the beginning for venue captains is please take all of your trash with you. You know, you can tell this isn't a theater, so we don't have people to clean up your popcorn. So please take it with you. And then also do a sweep of the theater, make sure everything just isn't looking awful. There's not trash everywhere. And then we'll let
straightening up the chairs, that sort of stuff. Yeah. Just, we want it to be a good presentation. Again, going back to that, you know, we want the filmmakers to feel like they're respected, and that means coming into a clean theater and a clean environment. And for all the people that are traveling in, who are looking at our community for the first time, maybe making sure that we have put that best foot forward. And then just for all of our guests, we want to make sure they have a great experience.
Okay, last station, and then we have just a couple of other things to go over. But the last one is the voting station. So if you're working ticketing, you're also working voting. And also this is important for everybody, because if you get questions about it at a venue, you'll be able to answer what goes down at voting. So voting is the most crucial part of the film prize, because this is what most people have come to do. They've come to see the films, they've come to vote for their favorite, and the winner gets $50,000. There are a lot of rules in place for us to give away $50,000. Think of it kind of like the lottery. We can't just start giving them away willy-nilly. So we have spot checks done by the accounting firms that help us out, and if they think that it's not being managed correctly, they can throw out entire boxes full of ballots if they'd like, if they don't think it's being managed correctly, or they can take away our privileges entirely. So we want to make sure that we're taking care of the voting station. So this is a
sample ballot.
Yeah.
This is what the ballots will look like this year. There's a lot of information here, but I want to start with the most important part here on the left, which is This is where the $50,000 is selected. This has all 20 films. This is a completely different system than we've done in years past. In years past, we had 3 lines, and you wrote the name of your film in each one. Well, that's difficult for people to remember. They're flipping through a book trying to remember what the films were called. Here they are.
Try writing this, and if you wanted to vote for incredibly smart, sexy Bombshell co-ed named Deborah, it would take a while. So
Right. That's the name of the film. So they're all 20 are here, and the system works a little something like this. You still pick 3, and the way you do that is you write a number 1 inside the box of your favorite film. So say Stag, which is by the filmmaker who won last year, number 1. Number 2, number 3. No more, no less. The number of 3 shall be the number of counting. Anybody with that one? All right, cool. So, Monty Python. Sorry, guys. Okay. 3 shall be the number of counting. So you will have 3 films selected. You have to do all 3 numbers. The person has to do all 3 numbers. They can't use a number twice, that sort of thing. 1, 2, 3. No more, no less. On this side, they're selecting 1 actress and 1 actor. They will shade in the box next to the person that they want to pick. We actually have big posters this year with the actor's face on it, with their name and the film that they're in. So at the voting station,
in the line.
Yeah,
so
so
we
we're
can
actually
be prepared.
We're actually doing a line this year. It's going to go around the side of Tipitina's, if anybody's familiar. And on the wall, we will have all the film images and all the actors and actresses. So while they're in line, they can be thinking about this stuff.
Year 6, we're getting it done. We got it now.
Getting it figured out. Absolutely. And so again, they'll shade in or check the box next to the person that they want to pick for actress and actor, and also important, the very top, name, email address. If they don't have name, email address, 3 films, 1 box, it's an invalid vote. Nothing will be counted. Even if they do the films and they don't choose an actor and actress, nothing counts. It has to be a complete ballot in every way.
Yes, it has to be full. They can put in A if they don't have an email address, or if they think we're out to get them and we're with the government, then they can put in A.
We're with the government.
There are those people, so help them out.
Okay. So again, just to reiterate, you can't vote unless you have both slates punched. When somebody comes up to the voting booth, they'll put their pass on. It's much easier if somebody takes it off their neck, so maybe if you suggest that. You'll hand it to them. You'll see that they have both punched. Before you hand them a ballot, you will punch the star, then hand them a ballot. They need to fill out that ballot right there. They can't leave with it. They can't go off and think about it. They've had the whole line and the walk to the voting station to figure that out. They need to do it right there. And again, this is how we prevent any funny business. And as we said on the sample ballot, all the spaces must be completed. And as a note from our vote counters this year, do not fold the voting ballot and try to stop anybody who might be trying to do that. We want them just to go straight in. It will save them many hours of work.
Yeah, so like Chris said, we want to exchange, we want to punch basically as we're giving them the ballot, so that you know, you saw with your own eyes personally, don't trust anybody, that you check their badge and that you're giving them a ballot. They can't pick up several for their friends. They can't take it away, because what happens is later on in the day, somebody walks up with a ballot and says, hey, I'd like to vote. And you're like, where did you come from? So we want to make sure that they stay there and fill it out. The ballot boxes this year most likely will be behind you, so then you'll take the ballot when they're done filling it out. We're not going to fold it. We'll put it in, because they spend about 50% of their time unfolding them while they're counting the votes. Okay, so special events. Some of you, your assignment may be the lunch demonstration with Tristan Epps or any of these things. So for these events, there will be a staff member there to kind of help you out with what we're doing, because each event is a little bit different. All of the food prize events are ticketed. They don't need a pass for them, but they need to have a ticket for that event. So we'll be checking them in with Eventbrite. Or if they have a gold pass, they can go to the food events. There are a lot of little nuances like that. If you're working a music prize event on Friday or Saturday, you're basically just a bouncer, and you're making sure that everybody has the right badge type before they can get in, and answering questions about where they can get a ticket and things like that. So if you have a special event, think of it as a combination between ticketing and ushering.
I will point out before we move on that we will be selling entry to Music Prize nights individually. They'll each have their own price. Obviously, we would love for somebody to show up on Thursday and say, "Why don't you come to all 3 nights?" Maybe they just heard about that one, so we're trying to get them to buy that full pass. But they do have individual nights available, and those they get a wristband that's corresponding with that night.
Yes, and they can go to ticketing to purchase that.
Yeah, all tickets purchased at the ticketing booth.
Oh, yay me! I just already went over this. Forgot this was a slide. But checking guests have the correct badge. Selling tickets at the ticketing booth if they need them. Checking them in through Eventbrite, etc., etc. All right, so before we wrap up, we just have a few little example scenarios that we want to run down. So I'll do the first one. At ticketing, I lost my ticket, I couldn't print it, or I never got it, etc. So this happens a lot. Someone will just come up and say, I bought a ticket and I don't know where it is. It's out there somewhere.
And sometimes it's legitimate. Sometimes it has gone to their spam folder
Yeah.
and they didn't look there.
Yeah.
Or sometimes the system will glitch and
Yeah.
not send them their ticket. It happens, so it's
Yeah.
not their fault always.
So we always want to sympathize with them and start off either with an, oh, I'm so sorry for the confusion, or like, I completely understand that's frustrating. So we want to sympathize with them. When you apologize, you're not admitting fault. We know it's not your fault. It's not anybody's fault. But sometimes people just like to hear that if they're frustrated. Offer to look up the ticket if we need to through Eventbrite. If you can't find the ticket, you can always say, please go through your email. Like, do you have any proof that you bought this ticket? Anything like that. And if not, then if you can't find it in Eventbrite, honestly, it's probably not there. Or it's under another name. But it's not there. So you can say, I'm sorry, it never went through. You'll have to purchase another ticket. If somebody throws a huge fit, always call in a staff member. I'm usually at ticketing and voting 90% of the time, so I'll be around. And I'm going to say this later as well. Don't get yourself into any scenario where somebody's yelling at you or taking things out on you. That's my job. I'm really great at getting yelled at, like really, really good at it. So if anybody starts yelling at you, just holler at me, call me over. There are things I can do to help them, but try everything that's in your realm of tools, and if it goes south, call somebody.
All right, I'll take this one. Voting, I didn't get my pass punched. This one actually happens less and less, and that's because we've done our job at line management or as an usher and punching people on the way out. And I know that people want to rush to get to other theaters, but hopefully we've slowed them down, taken the time, punched the correct color slate, which is important. But again, as Emily said in the other example, apologize for the confusion, but we do have a policy, and that policy is driven home to us by that accounting firm who has to protect the validity of the vote. We're giving away $50,000. There are 20 filmmakers who all really want it, and if there's a situation where they hear that somebody has voted twice or has voted without seeing both slates, that's not good for anybody. It's bad for the festival, and our accounting firm won't like that either. So doing our best to inform them that there is a procedure in place while we're in line. So this is a voting situation that hopefully is being taken care of by the ushers and punchers at the venue. But at the end of the day, if they insist, we have to let them know that this is in place to protect the integrity of the vote. And most people understand at least that. The few times that it has happened, this is the major diffuser, which is, we're here to protect the validity of the vote, and nobody who's associated with a film will argue with that because they want that same protection for them and their friends.
Yeah, and they know. They've heard it multiple times. When we pass out their ticket, we'll say, here's where you get it punched on the way out. The venue captains will spiel before the things. Make sure you get it punched on the way out. Ushers will be hollering at the end of the screenings, hey, please let me punch your pass. So really, there is no scenario that exists in Film Prize world where we will ever let somebody vote that doesn't have the pass punch. There's no excuses and no exceptions for that one.
There's even a video at the beginning of each screening, if you've been to the Film Prize screenings. So even if somebody forgets to say it, a venue captain forgets to say it, it's built into every screening, an explanation. You must have both slates punched.
All right. So another one is a VIP shows up late. Again, these are our sponsors most of the time, so we want to make sure that we're being really polite. Say, oh, I'm so sorry, but our policy is, that's always a great one. I'm so sorry, but our policy is that you can only hop the line up to 10 minutes prior. So if your venue is sold out and you don't have any room, just say, I'm so sorry, I can't let you into this one, but the next one is showing at Scottish Rite in 30 minutes, and you can go there and get straight to the front of the line because you have half an hour to do it. So always offer up solutions. There's pretty much usually a solution for everything at Prize Fest if a problem arises. So we just want to make sure that we're polite and trying to solve their problems.
And again, this year, because of the scheduling, the changes that we've made in the buddy system for the two venue system, where Robinson and Capri are mirroring each other, but one is 30 minutes behind. So somebody could get to the front of the line, and not be able to make it in. Let's say that the line counting doesn't happen or isn't complete. They still have 30 minutes from that moment before the next screening starts, which is usually when lines start to build up. So we've built this schedule and geographically set the slate colors again, like this and Scottish Rite on Saturday, the Robinson and the Capri buddy system, trying to make sure that people can get to and from slates. We did them based on the fact that the Robinson is the most popular and ArtStation is the most popular over here. So, okay, last one, venue usher, venue captain. Somebody goes to the bathroom. Hopefully we're watching, the doors and making sure people aren't coming out. If somebody comes down the hall, say, I'm sorry, if you leave, you can't come back in. And they'll say, well, how long is the thing? Hopefully you're paying attention to, like, how many films are left. And you can say, well, if you've got 2 more films which means at the most 30 minutes before the intermission. All right, I can hold it. Or, oh, I can't hold it. And again, it's about protecting the integrity of the vote. And usually, if you're having this conversation, somebody has to go, right? So they're like already antsy, maybe a little drunk. And as we mentioned earlier, we can, as a last resort, have take their badge temporarily to make sure that when they leave, that they don't get punched, but they can still have it back, and they can go see another screening if they choose.
Yeah, and these scenarios are all up here because they have happened in the past, and this one was our major complaint from last year.
This one happens a lot. And
yes.
VIP coming late happens more often than maybe it should.
Yes. So that's why this one is on here, and it's very serious this year. No bathroom. Or you can. You just can't come back in. Or you have to go to the bathroom at the appropriate time.
Right. So. Before the screening, during intermission, like there's no point at which somebody's having to wait more than an hour and a half, an hour and 15 minutes at the most, because the upper limit of the film runtime is 15 minutes. So 5. At the most, they're waiting an hour and 15 minutes to go to the bathroom. Thomas. Intermission is 10 minutes across the board at every venue, including the Robinson. The Robinson has had shorter intermissions in the past, but we've gotten rid of that.
All right, so just a couple of things to wrap up. Our volunteer code, always be polite. Again, we're representing the SBC, and we want people to think highly of us. You never know if you're talking to a judge or a journalist from a big magazine. You don't know who you're interacting with, so we want to be polite with everyone. Always be helpful. Offer up solutions before the problem happens, and also give more information than you think you should. No one has ever suffered from too much information, I promise. So when people come up to get their ticket, you can always say, oh, have you been before? Do you know how it works? Let me go through the program book for you. Just take an extra second to explain things to people because it can make or break their experience. Be proactive. Again, solve problems before they happen. If we are doing our jobs, then hopefully in a perfect world, we wouldn't have any issues, but not so much of a perfect world. But we want to prevent as many incidents as happening as possible. Represent our city. Energize the crowd. You have a lot of freedom to kind of do fun things with the crowd. You can play movie trivia if you'd like you can pull up questions on your phone. You just make sure that everybody's having a good time. Strike up conversations with people, and remember that you are the prize. And then last thing, our rules of engagement are approach each situation as if it's the first time. So you'll get the same question multiple times over and over and over again, but they don't know that. So you want to make sure that each guest is like the first time you've ever heard that question. Oh my goodness, what a great question. What time does the 3 o'clock screening start? 3 o'clock. Fascinating. But we want to treat everybody as if it's the first time because there's a lot going on. Some people may have never been to a festival like of this scale before, so we want to make sure that we're helping everybody understand everything. Sympathize with the person and the problem. Usually, if they're frustrated with you, they have maybe something else going on that day. You don't really know, so we want to make sure that we're saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry that you've had computer issues, or that it went to your spam folder, or I'm sorry for the confusion." Again, saying that you're sorry is not admitting fault. We know it's not your fault, but sometimes it's just what people want to hear. Diffuse frustration by offering solutions. If somebody comes up and asks you a question like, well, I don't even know. But if somebody asks you a question, if they're like, "Hey, this screening is sold out. Can I get in?" No. You always want to offer up with something else they can do. Be like, "Oh, you can't get into this one, but you can get in the one next door that's starting in 30 minutes." So always offer up those solutions. And then the last one, as I said earlier, do not engage in destructive discussions. Bring in someone above you. So if anybody is getting rude or ugly with you, it's not your job to sit there and get yelled at. We have people that get paid to do that. So don't let anybody be rude to you. If a situation gets out of hand and it's something that you cannot solve, already using all the things that we went through, somebody just won't leave you alone, somebody starts yelling at you, all you have to do is say, "I'm sorry, I can't help you with that, but let me get you someone who will." You don't have to, don't call me like manager or supervisor or anything. You don't have to be like, "Oh, let me get my supervisor," because that doesn't always sound great. But just say, "Let me find somebody that can help you with that." And you'll have a list of contacts if you're at a venue. You can call me or you can call Chris is on there. Usually you'll be calling me because I'm in charge of all that stuff because I love getting yelled at. It's like a thing that I like to do. And
Yeah, call Emily
yeah.
first because she can always call me.
Yeah, exactly. But call somebody because we are not here to have you put into those situations. We want you to have a good time. We want you to be taken care of. We've got food and drinks for you and everything like that. So we want to make sure that you're having a great time. So call me if you need anything.